Your granddad's backyard wasn't just about growing food, it was about growing the right food for Canadian families. But what if I told you that some of the crops that once filled dinner tables from the Maritimes to the Prairies are now completely banned from your garden? Some will shock you, others might already be growing in your neighbor's yard without them even knowing it. The reasons why might change how you think about gardening north of the border forever. Kudzu. Kudzu was once promoted as a miracle crop for erosion control and livestock feed, especially in southern Ontario and along the Great Lakes. Its fast-growing vines can cover entire hillsides in a single season, and it was even planted by government programs in the 20th century. But in Canada, kudzu is a regulated pest and a prohibited noxious weed. It's illegal to import, sell, or plant kudzu anywhere in the country. The plant smothers trees, hydro lines, and even buildings, causing millions in damage. What was once hailed as a solution became a cautionary tale about introducing foreign species to Canadian soil. Kudzu's ability to grow up to a foot a day means it can quickly take over rural roadsides, cottage country, and even city parks. In the southern U.S., it's called the vine that ate the South, and Canadian provinces are determined not to let it do the same here. If you spot it, you're required to report it to local authorities, and removal is a must. For gardeners, it's a reminder that not every green miracle plant is a good neighbor. Water spinach, kangkong. Water spinach, or kangkong, is a staple in Asian Canadian kitchens and loved for its tender, hollow stems and arrow-shaped leaves. It grows incredibly fast in warm, wet conditions and can be harvested continuously. But in Canada, water spinach is a prohibited plant under the Plant Protection Act. It's illegal to import, sell, or grow water spinach because it can escape cultivation and clog waterways, crowding out native aquatic plants. Even a small stem fragment can start a new colony, making it a serious threat to wetlands and irrigation ditches from BC to Quebec. Despite its popularity in home cooking, water spinach is considered a major risk to Canadian wetlands and irrigation canals. Provinces like Ontario and British Columbia have seen how quickly it can take over, and even a single plant in a backyard pond can lead to a full-blown infestation. If you're caught growing or selling it, you could face hefty fines and be required to destroy your plants. For many gardeners, it's a tough loss. But protecting our lakes and rivers comes first. Giant hogweed. Giant hogweed commands attention with its towering stalks and massive white flower heads. It looks like something out of a fairy tale, and gardeners once imported it as an ornamental showpiece for their cottage gardens. But this plant harbors a sinister secret in its sap. When that sap touches skin and is exposed to sunlight, it causes severe burns, blistering, and permanent scarring. In Canada, it's classified as a noxious weed, and it's illegal to plant, sell, or transport. Kids playing near giant hogweed have ended up in hospital with injuries that look like third-degree burns. Today, authorities require immediate removal and reporting of any sightings, especially in Ontario and BC. Giant hogweed seeds can travel far on the wind or in water, making it a threat to both urban and rural areas. Municipalities from Vancouver Island to the Maritimes have spent millions on removal and public education campaigns. If you find it on your property, don't try to remove it yourself. Call the city or province and always wear protective gear. It's a plant that's beautiful from a distance but dangerous up close. Mile-a-minute weed. Mile-a-minute weed lives up to its name, growing up to 15 centimeters a day and quickly smothering everything in its path. Its triangular leaves and barbed stems make it a nightmare for gardeners and farmers alike. In Canada, It's a prohibited noxious weed under federal law. It's illegal to import, sell, or plant mile-a-minute weed anywhere in the country. The plant forms dense mats that choke out crops, native plants, and even young trees, making it a major threat to agriculture and natural habitats from Nova Scotia to Vancouver Island. This weed is especially dangerous because it can hitch a ride on imported nursery stock, bird seed, or even on your boots after a hike. Once established, it's nearly impossible to eradicate, and it can reduce crop yields and property values. Canadian provinces are on high alert, and border agents are trained to spot it. If you see it, report it before it takes over your local park or farm. Japanese knotweed. Japanese knotweed was once the pride of Victorian gardens, admired for its bamboo-like stems and lush foliage. It was planted along rivers and in backyards for its beauty and resilience. But this perennial quickly turned into a nightmare, spreading aggressively through underground rhizomes. In Canada, it's now a regulated invasive species, illegal to plant, sell, or transport in most provinces. Its roots can crack foundations, destroy driveways, and overwhelm its native plants. A single fragment can start a new colony, making it nearly impossible to eliminate. Knotweed is so tough that it can grow through asphalt and concrete, causing headaches for homeowners and municipalities alike. In BC and Ontario, property owners are required to control it, and some banks may even refuse mortgages on infested properties. If you spot it, don't compost it. Bag it and send it to the landfill. It's a plant that's beautiful in spring, but a disaster by fall. Giant reed, Arundodonax. Giant reed, or Arundodonax, is a towering grass that was once planted for erosion control and as a windbreak, especially in southern BC and along prairie rivers. It grows up to 6 meters tall and can form dense stands along rivers and ditches. But in Canada, giant reed is a prohibited noxious weed. It's illegal to import, sell, or plant it. The plant crowds out native vegetation, alters water flow, and increases fire risk. Its aggressive growth and deep rhizomes make it nearly impossible to control once established. Giant reed is also a fire hazard, burning hotter and faster than native grasses. In places like the Okanagan and southern Alberta, it's been linked to wildfires that threaten homes and wildlife. If you see it along a creek or ditch, report it to your local conservation authority. It's a reminder that not every hardy plant is a good fit for Canadian landscapes. Hydrilla. Hydrilla was once sold in aquarium stores and used in water gardens for its attractive appearance and rapid growth. But this aquatic plant grows so densely that it blocks boat propellers, clogs water intake pipes, and creates stagnant conditions that kill fish. Hydrilla is now on Canada's list of prohibited aquatic plants. It's illegal to possess, transport, or sell hydrilla anywhere in the country, with fines up to $10,000 for violations. What once seemed like a perfect pond plant became an aquatic nightmare for cottagers and anglers alike. Hydrilla can survive Canadian winters by dying back to tubers, then regrowing in spring. It spreads easily through fragments, so even cleaning your canoe or fishing gear is important. Provinces like Ontario and Quebec have active monitoring programs, and if you're caught with hydrilla, you could face serious penalties. It's a plant that's better left in the aquarium if it's legal at all. Garlic mustard. Garlic mustard was brought to Canada by European settlers who valued it as both food and medicine. The leaves have a mild garlic flavor and were commonly added to salads and cooked dishes. But garlic mustard releases chemicals into the soil that prevent other plants from growing, forming dense carpets that smother native wildflowers and disrupt entire forest ecosystems. In Canada, It's classified as a noxious weed in several provinces, and it's illegal to sell or plant it. Control programs are ongoing, and gardeners are urged to report any sightings, especially in Ontario and Quebec woodlots. Garlic mustard is especially dangerous because it can self-seed and spread rapidly, even in shady forests. It's now a common sight in city ravines and along hiking trails, where it outcompetes native trilliums and violets. If you see it, pull it before it goes to seed, and never compost it. It's a plant that's easy to overlook, but hard to get rid of once it takes hold. Yellow floating heart. Yellow floating heart is a beautiful aquatic perennial with bright yellow flowers. It was once a favorite for water gardens and backyard ponds, but it spreads rapidly, forming dense mats that choke out native plants and disrupt water flow. In Canada, it's a prohibited aquatic plant, illegal to import, sell, or transport. Provinces like Ontario and British Columbia have active removal programs, and even possessing this plant can result in fines. It's a real headache for anyone with a backyard pond or cottage dock. Yellow floating heart can also block sunlight and reduce oxygen in the water, harming fish and other aquatic life. Its seeds and plant fragments can travel long distances on boats or in waterfowl feathers, making it a threat to lakes and rivers across the country. If you spot it, report it to your local conservation authority and help keep Canadian waters healthy. Oriental bittersweet was introduced as an ornamental vine for its showy orange berries and vigorous growth. But it quickly escaped gardens and began smothering trees and shrubs in forests and along roadsides. In Canada, it's a regulated invasive species and illegal to import, sell, or plant. The vine can girdle and kill mature trees, and its seeds are spread far and wide by birds. Control efforts are ongoing, but once established, it's nearly impossible to eradicate, especially in the Maritimes in southern Ontario. This vine is especially problematic in older neighborhoods and along rural fence lines, where it can take over in just a few seasons. It's a favorite of birds, who spread the seeds far and wide. If you see it climbing a maple or spruce, don't ignore it. Cut it back and report it. It's a plant that's beautiful in autumn, but deadly for Canadian forests. Scotch broom. Scotch broom was brought to Canada by European settlers who valued it as a hardy perennial shrub for stabilizing soil and providing color. But it crowds out native plants, increases fire risk, and forms dense stands that provide poor habitat for wildlife. The plant produces thousands of seeds that can remain viable in the soil for decades. It's now regulated or forbidden to sell in British Columbia and other provinces, with control efforts costing millions. You'll see it along the Trans-Canada Highway, but you're not allowed to plant it in your own yard. Scotch broom's bright yellow flowers may look cheerful, but the plant is a menace to native grasslands and forests. It's especially invasive on Vancouver Island and the Gulf Islands, where it's outcompeting Gary oak and other native species. If you see it, pull it before it seeds and never compost the cuttings. It's a plant that's better admired from a distance. Witchweed striga. Witchweed is a parasitic plant that attaches to the roots of crops like corn, sorghum, and sugarcane, stealing nutrients and water. It can reduce yields by up to 80% and is nearly impossible to control once established. In Canada, witchweed is a federally regulated pest and a prohibited noxious weed. It's illegal to import, sell, or plant witchweed anywhere in the country. The plant is a major threat to agriculture, and strict quarantine measures are in place to prevent its spread. Witchweed is especially dangerous because its seeds can remain dormant in the soil for years, waiting for the right host. It's a major concern for prairie farmers who rely on corn and other grains. If you're importing seed or farm equipment, make sure it's certified clean. Witchweed is a reminder that even the smallest plants can cause the biggest headaches. Water chestnut, Trapanatans. Water chestnut produces starchy, edible nuts and was once grown in ponds and lakes. But it forms dense mats that make water bodies unusable for swimming, boating, or fishing. The sharp, spiny nuts can injure swimmers and damage boat propellers. It crowds out native aquatic vegetation and creates poor habitat for waterfowl and fish. Water chestnut is now a prohibited aquatic plant in Canada, with active removal programs and strict bans on cultivation or transport. Water chestnut is especially problematic in southern Ontario and Quebec, where it's invaded lakes and rivers. The plant can double its coverage in a single season, making it a nightmare for cottagers and anglers. If you see it, report it to your local conservation authority and never try to harvest or move it yourself. Wild slash, water taro, invasive forms. Wild taro, or water taro, was introduced as an ornamental and food plant, but invasive forms have escaped cultivation and now threaten wetlands and waterways. The plant forms dense stands that crowd out native species and alter water flow. In Canada, invasive wild taro is regulated as a prohibited aquatic plant. It's illegal to import, sell, or plant it, and control programs are in place in several provinces. Wild taro is especially invasive in southern Ontario, where it's taken over ditches and slow-moving streams. Its large leaves shade out native plants, and its tubers can survive winter freezes. If you spot it, don't try to dig it up. Report it to your local conservation authority. It's a plant that's better left in the tropics. Palmer amaranth. Palmer amaranth is a fast-growing weed that can reach over 2 meters tall and produce hundreds of thousands of seeds per plant. It's highly competitive, reducing crop yields and clogging farm equipment. In Canada, Palmer amaranth is a prohibited noxious weed. It's illegal to import, sell, or plant it, and strict measures are in place to prevent its spread. The plant is resistant to many herbicides, making it a major challenge for prairie farmers. Palmer amaranth is especially worrisome for soybean and corn growers in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. It can outcompete crops and is nearly impossible to control with standard herbicides. If you see it in your field, contact your provincial agriculture office immediately. It's a weed that's changing the way Canadian farmers manage their land. Spiny amaranth. Spiny amaranth is another aggressive weed that invades fields, gardens, and pastures. Its sharp spines make it difficult to handle, and it competes with crops for water and nutrients. In Canada, spiny amaranth is a prohibited noxious weed. It's illegal to import, sell, or plant it, and landowners are required to control or remove it. The plant's resilience and rapid growth make it a persistent problem, especially in southern Ontario and the prairies. Spiny amaranth can also contaminate grain shipments, leading to export problems for Canadian farmers. Its seeds are tough to separate from wheat and barley, and its spines can injure livestock. If you find it in your field, act fast before it spreads to your neighbor's farm. Wild parsnip. Cultivation restricted. Wild parsnip was once valued as a hardy perennial root vegetable, but its sap contains chemicals that cause severe burns when exposed to sunlight. In Canada, wild parsnip is classified as a noxious weed in several provinces, and its cultivation is restricted or banned. Control programs are in place to remove it from public areas, and gardeners are urged to avoid planting or handling it without protection. It's a common sight along rural roadsides, but it's not welcome in the backyard. Wild parsnip is especially dangerous for children and pets who may not recognize it. Municipalities in Ontario and Quebec have launched public awareness campaigns, and some even offer free removal services if you see it. Wear gloves and long sleeves before tackling it, and never compost the cuttings. Purple loosestrife. With its tall spikes of brilliant purple flowers, purple loosestrife was beloved by gardeners and beekeepers alike. But it forms dense stands that crowd out native wetland species, destroying habitat for birds and fish. It's illegal to sell, plant, or transport purple loosestrife in most provinces, and control efforts cost millions every year. The plant is now a symbol of the dangers of introducing non-native species to Canadian wetlands. Purple loosestrife is especially problematic in the Prairies and the Maritimes, where it's taken over marshes and riverbanks. Its seeds can travel long distances on water or in mud stuck to boots and boats. If you see it, report it to your local conservation authority and help protect Canada's wetlands. European frogbit. European frogbit is a floating aquatic plant with small round leaves and delicate white flowers. It was introduced as an ornamental but quickly escaped into the wild. The plant forms dense mats that block sunlight, reduce oxygen, and crowd out native aquatic plants. In Canada, European frogbit is a prohibited aquatic plant, illegal to import, sell, or transport. Provinces like Ontario have active removal programs to protect native wetlands. Frogbit is especially invasive in the Great Lakes region, where it can cover entire bays and slow-moving rivers. It's a threat to boating, fishing, and native wildlife. If you spot it, don't try to remove it yourself. Call your local conservation authority for advice. Potatoes in golden nematode quarantine zones. Potatoes are a staple crop in Canada, but in areas quarantined for golden nematode, a microscopic pest that attacks potato roots, growing potatoes is strictly regulated or banned. The nematode can devastate yields and is nearly impossible to eradicate. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency enforces strict controls in affected regions, and farmers must follow quarantine protocols or face fines and destruction of their crops. Even home gardeners in these zones are required to follow the rules. Golden nematode quarantine zones are mostly found in parts of Newfoundland and southern British Columbia. If you live in one of these areas, check with your local agriculture office before planting potatoes. It's a reminder that even the most Canadian of crops can come with strings attached. These 20 banned crops tell the story of how Canada learned the hard way that not all plants make good neighbors. From innocent-looking flowers hiding deadly secrets to miracle crops that became ecological nightmares, each one changed how we think about what belongs in our gardens. Hit that subscribe button to discover more forgotten secrets from Canada's gardening past, and check out the next video on your screen about the heirloom vegetables your great-grandparents grew that you need to plant today.